with your arms around me. Baby, you surround me. And it's more than I can take. With your lips. I don't know how it goes. Every little thing that you do. I'm so in love with you. It just keeps getting better. And... oh, hang on a second. I have to finish this just for my own peace of mind. Everything that you do. I'm so... no. Baby, I'm amazed by you. There we go. I got there in the end. Shit. I'm so sorry that I put you through that. There was something on telly earlier. And it sounded a bit like that. I don't think it was that one. That's Amazed. I think it's Lone Star. It was on. I had a SingStar game and it was on it. And it's been in my head for a while. But you know when something's in your head, but you don't really know the words. So the same sort of lines sort of reverberate around your head and you end up replacing the lyrics with, you make it up yourself, don't you? But it was more or less there. It's full of shit. It's Olympia Solo Podcast. We're on episode 5. And I have got some, what is the phrase? Humdingers, that's the one. I've got some humdingers for you today. Well, first of all, I just need to say I'm very disappointed in all of you for no one, as of yet, has been able to get me a copy of Joanna Lumley's No Room for Secrets. I've been contacted by several many people regarding this issue. And I was told, don't worry, yes, I can help you out. No one has. What have you guys got going on that's so important that you can't help me? That you can't, source a rare audiobook from, the early noughties to send to this disembodied voice that you're listening to. How dare you? Don't worry, her day will come. Today's thought of the day is how close are we to achieving the supersonic shower that you can purchase in the smash hit simulation game for the PlayStation 2, The Sims Bustin' Out. How close are we? If you're not familiar, it was this thing you could buy for your Sims, and it was like this little square, and they would stand on it, and they'd start floating around inside some sort of blue circles, and they'd magically be clean. And it was like a second shower. Only took a second. And I'd love that, because I fucking hate showering. A nice bubble bath, on a chilly winter's evening is just lovely. You'll light some candles and, put in some smellies and mood lighting. That's delightful. But generally speaking, showering, washing your hair, fuck that. I hate doing that. Oh. The house makes all sorts of noises. That was a bloop bloop. Oh, the bloop. Now listen, I'm going to make a note. I'll talk about the bloop when I get to my... sorry if you can hear typing. I'm going to add it to my list of notes. When I get to my creepy conspiracy section, creepy mystery section of the podcast, I'll talk about that. I don't know what that sound was, though. I think it was... Nova turns the kitchen light on downstairs, and it does make some very peculiar noises. That kitchen is not quite alright. I think it was that. I'm sorry if you can hear a humming sound. I just would like to know when, we can make some sort of particle dirt deleter machine that you can climb into and then you're clean. So you don't have to go through the facade that is showering, soap in places. And you have to wash your hair every time. I've got a fair amount of hair. And you don't feel clean if you haven't washed your hair. You don't really feel great. So you can do a half-assed job, but you really have to. And, just trying to get washing shampoo out of your hair. Why is it such a chore? I don't want to do it. This is not my way of saying that I don't do it. I absolutely must. I'm very hygienic. I do like to brush my teeth, the recommended amount of times. And I will floss and I will scrape my tongue. I'll do that. And I don't mind saying it. And people will say, oh my God, that's so disgusting. No, it's not disgusting. You're disgusting if you don't. I can't brush how do people brush their tongue? With the back of the toothbrush? No, I'm not doing that. That's weird. You're just moving dirt around. You've got to scrape it off Scrape it off. Scrape it off. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's not right. So, how's everyone doing? I had a strange encounter on Facebook earlier on. Someone decided to record, several people, I imagine, record a woman committing suicide. And this was in New York. And this happened, I think it said it was the 22nd of August. So what was that, like 2-3 weeks ago? I don't know. This poor chick flung herself off off a very high floor of a New York, I think it was in Manhattan, hotel. And someone decided to film it. And mind you, not just, film her hanging out of a window and then move the camera away. Film the entire thing. She jumped out, there's screaming on the pavement, and she hits the floor, and you see her hit the floor. And this was on Facebook. Someone recorded that and put it on Facebook. It was so... I felt like I had invaded this poor woman, to see that her final moments just, shared around, just like a piece of entertainment. Why would you put that on Facebook? I don't understand why you'd do that. I don't understand why you would film it to begin with. I mean, obviously you can't help her. She's too far away. So other people tried to help her. I felt dreadful that I was looking at this woman's final moments. And I tried to do some research on her to sort of find out a bit more about her, because I felt the need to after seeing that. It was such a personal thing to see someone... I suppose she did it in a very public place, which sort of beggars the question, what beggars the question, apparently, why you do it in such a public place if you're going to do it. It's quite a private act, but, people will jump in front of trains. Can't you find a better way to do that? There's the dog outside. Can you hear that dog barking? That's Charmaine. I don't know. Yeah, I there's a lot of questions about that. I mean, why people kill themselves anyway. It's a whole other avenue of questioning. But I tried to research this lady and find out who she was and a bit about her, but I couldn't get a name or anything. She was just being listed as woman, which is strange because it was a long time ago, relatively, that this happened. It was a good, 2 weeks ago. But fancy uploading that. Why would you put that? And it was graphic. I can't imagine it's still on there, actually. It was so graphic. As you can imagine. What happens to a person when they, jump out of a building and then hit asphalt. It wasn't great. But that was a moment I had with that. Why do people do that? Good neighbour, friend / mother of mine, Vesuvia Avalanche, lives next door. She recently had an encounter on Facebook, and she's a lover of animals. She's got dogs, and there's a fox that always comes around the street, and she'll go outside, and she'll put a little Tupperware of meat and eggs under her car for the foxes. There's a few of them, it's a little family. She loves foxes. She's a lover of animals. And she had to get off Facebook. Someone posted, and all right, this is a slightly different thing. It was a really brutal sort of video about showing it was a slaughterhouse. She didn't explicitly say what it was about. Actually, she's never to this day. So she can't talk about it because she was so scarred by what she saw. I imagine. Well, she said it was something to do with animal cruelty. It might have been a slaughterhouse or something to do with dogs or something. She was very upset. She said she can't go on Facebook anymore because she was so shocked by it. She woke up in the night crying. I mean, God bless her. But people will post things. And Facebook is something of I can't even explain it. Like, you sit down and before you know it, you're on it. And you don't even remember clicking on it. And you're sort of, you find yourself inserting your mind into this stream of just, dirge. It's a cesspit of, needy people, mainly, attention-seeking assholes. Or just, I don't even know. You read just shit people, and you're like, I don't even know who you are. Why am I reading this? What am I doing? I find myself, you'll be on it, and then you have to just take yourself off and think, this is not life. What am I doing? Bloody Facebook, such a nightmare. Anyway, that was a moment I had. So, what am I going to talk about? Let me just open my notes. Oh no, the MacBook's died. Well, it is. Let's just get into the obvious thing at the moment. It's suddenly started to go a bit chilly. And with that, with the instant sort of... I believe it's now autumn. Is it technically autumn? I don't know. Summer was shit, by the way. Where was it? It never happened. Really. It was okay. There was the odd day, but it was not great. So, it's getting a bit chilly. I've got my slippers out. And I've been trying to get Nova to wear a pair of slippers for the past 5 years. And she won't wear them. She always gets really cold feet. And she'll put a flimsy sock on. That won't do anything. I said, I will get you some bloody slippers. She goes, no, they're for old people. But you're in the house, so who gives a shit? No one's going to see them. Do people wear slippers? Our dear friend Megan has a pair. I believe they're penguins. And, you know, I don't have any shame in my slippers. My shearling pair are, well, they're wildly unattractive, but they're for the house time. So no one's going to know. I don't understand anyway, who cares? There's Halloween stuff in TK Maxx. Oh, we didn't miss a trick. We went straight in there. We've already got some stuff. We bought these little skulls. They were £2 a go. I mean, you'd be foolish not to. And they were these little skulls. And they sort of light up from the inside. Little sort of metallic, stony looking skulls on the strings, and they've got lights inside, so we're going to suspend those somewhere. Probably going to have a Halloween party this year. Actually, make a note. I'm going to have to make a Facebook event regarding that, so people know. Who'd like to come? Novympia Heights, Halloween. Our parties are legendary. I mean, we've only had one, but it was legendary. I was absolutely wasted even before all the guests had arrived. It was an absolute state. It was a shit show. I was the Blair Witch. It was my interpretation of the Blair Witch, which I think very closely followed how the Blair Witch is described in the movie. Not how she is portrayed in the, I don't know, even so-called sequel, whatever, that came out last year before, whatever. I didn't care much for that because you saw the Blair Witch in that movie, which completely kind of debased it for me because you don't see the Blair Witch in the original, and that's what makes it so special. Anyway, I was her based on, you know, hairy, toothy lady, and I was so anticipatory for this party that I was so excited. I got so wasted. Within an hour, I was gone. Can't remember a fucking thing. Which is a shame. We had literally decked out the house. There's so much shit everywhere. We went crazy. We made hundreds of Blair Witch dolls and suspended them we put string all over the ceiling and suspended them. And we made a big wall Ouija board situation with Christmas lights from, you know, Stranger Things. We had a great big crow in a cage suspended under the stairs, and when you walked past it sort of lit up and screamed at people. And there was this bat in the hallway, and when you walked past it would like thrash at you. We bought this clock, and you put it in there's a video, you've probably seen it. There was a Halloween video, I think we did. And we put this clock in the downstairs shitter, and when you went for a pee, the clock face opened and this skeleton jumped out at you. There was so much going on. The kitchen was like a dungeon. There were tombstones in the garden. I'm going to get some more tombstones this year, I've decided. Make it a full-blown cemetery back there. What was I even talking about? Halloween. Ah, yes. Very excited about it. I believe this year I'm going to... Well, shall I say? No, I don't know if I should say. I'm not going to say, actually. I was going to say just then, and I'm not going to. Nova is doing... I would like to tell you, just to kind of spoil it for her, but I can't even remember. It's something from... It's either Final Fantasy or some game or something that is the most obscure thing in the world, and you don't know what it is. No one knows what it is. So that's great. I don't know what Charmaine Diamond White is planning on doing. I imagine she will float the idea of doing Princess Diana again for the third year in a row, and she will probably get shot down again. Not because she wants to do a tasteful Princess Diana, but because she wants to put, like, a Mercedes-Benz like, you know, the Mercedes-Benz, like, car logo on the front of the car. Like, she wants to put a bloody one of those in her hair. Because that's tasteful. Lady Diana Spencer. You can't portray her that way. We just got some fish downstairs. A little fish tank, and I've named one of them Lady Diana Spencer. After her, as you might have pieced together. We watched a documentary about her, actually. Do people think of Princess Diana? Do people consider her? She did die 20 years ago. That's a very long time. Wow, yes, that's a very long time. I've literally just looked across the room and there's a book there and it says Diana Carries On. That's the name of the book. How creepy is that I've just looked at that? That's so weird. This book, I don't even know what it is. Just called Diana Carries On. It's not even about her, but anyway. We watched this documentary about her the other day, Nova and I. I think it's a two-parter on Netflix, about her life, pretty much her story, you know, her beginnings and her rise, and then obviously what happened to her. And I don't really recall very much about her from when she was alive, and when I was obviously a little tiny person. I was very young at the time, because I am very young and tender. I do obviously remember the when she died, there was obviously a huge deal about it. Looking back, though, she was just absolutely, you know, treated savagely by people. And you might be cynical. I think a lot of people are cynical about her. You know, was a lot of it for attention? Did she feed off of the media? Did she love it? You know, ultimately, however much you might think, you know, she was something of a dick, and in those roles, those royal roles, you know, they're going to do that, aren't they? That's a lot of what royal people do, is charity work, because what the hell else do? They don't release music. Did Princess Diana release music? I don't know. He sang Candle in the Wind. That old chestnut. I think she was a lovely person. I think she, you know, if you're going to run with that role, run with it. She went and met with people and she held their hand. You know, she would hug them and she would go out into the minefield and she would really get down with it, you know? A lot of people, it would sort of face value. Let's take a photo. All right, quick, let's get out because they're ill. No, not Diana. She wouldn't do that. The check's in the post. She said that once. I think she was gorgeous. She was so gorgeous. And she had great clothes. She loved a sort of diamante choker, which, you know, you can give or take a diamante choker. But apart from that, you know, beautiful lady she was. And did a lot of good. She touched a lot of people. Certainly a groundbreaking, royal, relatable. She was regular, you know. Regular as clockwork. That makes it sound like she, you know, went to the toilet, you know, a good amount. Don't lower the tone, please. What was my point about Diana? She, obviously, I mean, allegedly, I'm going to suggest that she was bumped off. The people were just awful to her. The you know, paparazzi were vicious to this woman. And I was saying, we were talking about Kate Middleton, Nova and I, how you can run very few parallels, really, between them if you think about it. Kate Middleton's not really much. She just seems to be shitting out babies left, right and centre. It's an heir and a spare, not an heir and a whole fucking Von Trapp family. Nova went into a Boots, and she sent me a picture of a magazine, Hello magazine, and it was Kate, because I had said, is Kate on in magazines as much as Diana? I don't know magazines. I never fucking look at that. It's just shit. I implore you, if you are a person that picks up a Hello magazine, or what are the other ones? Fucking Heat magazine, or whatever it is. You are a turd. You are a prize turd for doing that. Those magazines are trash. They serve no purpose whatsoever. They are full of lies. They are full of boring shit that will fuel just the mundane lives of, these vapid celebrities no one gives a shit about. Michelle Heaton. Who gives a fuck if Michelle Heaton, came out of a super drug with a fancy purse? No one gives a shit about her. Anyway, so Nova sent me this picture, and it was Kate Middleton on the front of it. And she was like, she was like, yes. See, she's right there. She's all over these magazines. So you can draw a parallel there. But the sad thing about it, and obviously, they have said in this documentary that Diana by the end was such a commodity for newspapers and magazines that it didn't really matter what the story was. You just had to get a picture of her because that was the money. So you would stick her on the front of a magazine because that was the money. It didn't really matter what it was about, or, if it was a true story or whatever. She was a commodity who would make money regardless. And this magazine that Nova sent me a picture of, Diana was there on the picture, on the magazine next to a picture of Kate Middleton. So 20 years later, the poor cow is still just being regurgitated, these pictures, to make money. And I think it's disgraceful. I think she was a lovely lady, and she's buried in a very lovely place. It's an estate. Was she born there? Or there's a little island surrounded by like a moat, and she had a little mausoleum there. My mother went to see an exhibition of her dresses at the Kensington Palace, and I would have loved that. The Queen is a great movie, actually, about how the Queen, was supposedly a bit of a cow about the death of Diana. She didn't come out and say anything for a while. But I guess... that was a sexy yawn if there was ever one. I guess, really, I think people forgave her because in her position, she was looking after the grandkids. She's granny. Granny. One is granny. So stupid. So that was my little moment on Diana. Do people still recall Diana? And I think at the time, I asked my mother about this. I said, were you a fan of Diana? And she said, not really. I think she was probably just everywhere at one point. Who can we compare her to? Who's absolutely everywhere all the time? I don't know, Kim Kardashian. Oh, God, I hate to even say their names in the same breath, but it's the same thing. Like, you see someone so frequently they get shoved down your throat, and you not even for the right reasons, it's that idea. I don't know. Just been watching Rick and Morty downstairs. Netflix is revolutionary, isn't it just? I was talking to our friends, Rosie and Tim. I'm going to start abbreviating them as RIM. We were talking about how, people don't go to bars anymore. People don't go to clubs. Gay clubs are closing down. And, live music, these venues, Tim is a musician, people are not coming out as much. And I said, do you want to know why that is, Tim? Netflix, bloody Netflix, has revolutionised the way that you just come home and you binge watch something. You spend the whole evening scrolling through posters. It is just so accessible. You leave the living room, it's on your phone, in the kitchen, you're doing the washing up, you can carry on watching something. It's just everywhere. So many screens, so much choice, new stuff. And they're so smart as well. They keep turning out these new shows. 1 minute you'll be watching, Stranger Things, and then what was that other one that came along? Santa Clarita Diet was a great one. They just, as soon as you stopped one, you start, Gypsy we watched, but don't watch Gypsy because that is a hot pile of shit, that is. But we're watching Rick and Morty at the moment, which I think Novi just said that we finished the last one, that we've caught up. And, you know, do the episodes stand alone, or do they all just merge into one? That's not a problem, though. Yeah, it's good. Do people like Rick and Morty? It sort of is a melting pot of, you know, there's a little bit of American Dad in there. It's very Futurama. I get some Dexter's Lab or some, you know, Ren and Stimpy. There's so many things in this show. It really is quite fresh. It doesn't sound it. It sounds like a pastiche the way I've described it, but it is very funny. It's just a shame though, you know. That's it was so great to throw on because it's just a 20 minutes ago, and you just put it on. It's just, you know, you can just be numb to it. But now, what have we got now? Orphan Black finished. That was a very disappointing season finale of Orphan Black. Who watches that? Nova and I lived for Orphan Black. We absolutely loved the shit out of it, and the ending was so flat. Why did nobody... Oh, no, I was going to give a spoiler then. Nobody... Okay, well, no, I can't give spoilers because you won't know where to skip to. But there was no emotional sort of, you know, reaction from the main characters, I thought, towards, like, one of the main events of the last couple of episodes. It was all very flat. And I didn't feel like a lot of things were tied up. It just seemed like they completely ran out of steam, and they were like, you know what, let's call it a day, you guys. Orphan Cack. Anyway, what else have we got? We're starting Penny Dreadful. It's old, I know now. It might even be finished. We've watched a few. Nova's not into it. I like anything gothic and Victorian, and as you might have guessed. But I'd like to really get into that. Nova is pushing for, I think, Luke Cage. But I really don't like superhero shit. I can't be doing with it. And the only vaguely superhero thing I've ever been into was Unbreakable, which is a great movie. But Nova gets me... She tried to make me watch I want to say the X-Files, not the X-Files. The X-Files was great. X-Men. How many X-Men did we watch? Bloody loads of them. And every single one I was like, no, I'm not into it. Yes, but just watch the next one. Oh, fine. Anyway, don't like superhero movies. We watched Jessica Jones, which is obviously, is it Marvel, whatever. And that was fine. I wasn't that into it. I like the idea that Carrie-Anne Moss was like a really like power suit, dyke lesbian, you know, fingering a receptionist, you know, behind a filing cabinet. I love that element, but there wasn't enough of that. I would just like that on its own to be a thing. I went back and started watching The L Word again, but that's so, like, oof, you know, they're having babies and having families and having mortgages. I just want to see someone getting finger banged in a mortuary. Well, that's a whole different episode for a whole other day. Should we do some creepy shit? Mystery Hour. Well, now, I don't want this to just become a rehashing of something that I've recently become very into, which is, and I'm sure a lot of other people have seen this, it's on YouTube. It's a series that is like a branch off of the overarching BuzzFeed YouTube, you know, channels. There's a few. What the different colours of the BuzzFeed channels represent, I don't know. But there is a BuzzFeed Blue, I believe. And there's a series, it's BuzzFeed Blue Unsolved Mysteries. And if you haven't ever watched any of these, but you enjoy the creepy mystery element of these podcasts, then you have to get on YouTube right now. Search BuzzFeed Blue. It will come up straight away. It's by far their most popular thing, I reckon, series-wise. And it's two guys. I think they're called Shane and Ryan. Originally, there was another guy, but he was not as good as the new one that he replaced. or that replaced him. And it's basically just two dudes who have... each episode, which, you know, they range from like 10 to 20 minutes, will discuss an unsolved mystery. Or some of them may have, you know, they have some pretty solid theories on them. But there is one that I think stands out, and the view count on this video would also suggest that It's the most popular one. A lot of people know about it, and I will talk about it now. And only after you finish the podcast, don't pause and go and look at it now, because that's just rude. Don't just leave me here. This one I will talk about is the strange case of, and I think on the internet, for Reddits or whatever, what have you. Oh, you listen, you've got to just let me have those yawns. I'm sorry, I know it's rude. But it's the end of a day. I can't do these any other time. But on my bed with some Dr. Pepper. Well, I haven't had any Dr. Pepper since I've been doing this, but it's there anyway. It's an option. Like I was saying, on the Reddits or, wherever the hell, this case, this mystery unsolved case, would probably be referred to as the girl in the tank, or, whatever. Her name was Elisa Lam, and she was a woman. I think was she Korean-American woman? Probably not. Who was staying at a hotel in, I believe, Los Angeles. Again, do I ever research these things properly? No. I think it was Los Angeles. It was the Hotel Cecil, I think it was called. And she went missing. She went to stay in this hotel, and she went missing. They found her dead in the water tank on the roof of this rather large hotel, old hotel. She was in a water tank on the roof. People reported a strange water pressure or a funny colour. Oh, I imagine probably a funny taste as well of the water that was coming out of the hotel faucets, but that's, whatever. So they went and found her. She was in there. People are divided on. There's a lot of strange things about this. I think the reason this case is so popular is because it is so strange. There are so many question marks, even more than the Maura Murray one. This one is literally what on earth went on. I think the first thing that people talk about is, I think was she naked, or there was a big question mark over how she got in there in the first place. If we rewind a little bit, they went to the CCTV and found some footage of her in an elevator. And if you go to the BuzzFeed Blue page, YouTube channel, the thumbnail, you'll recognise it because it's a picture of her on the CCTV inside the elevator. And she was displaying some very strange behaviours. Apparently, I'm so sleepy that this is just no longer appropriate. She was in the lift and she was displaying some very strange behaviours. There were questions about, was she on drugs? Was she bipolar? Did she have some, some kind of disorder? What was she doing? Because she was acting bizarrely. First of all, she is in the lift and she keeps peering out of the lift as if she's being followed, sneaking a look outside the doors. Is someone there? Is someone coming down the corridor? It appears that she's kind of speaking to someone as well at one point, but obviously no one's there, so there's the whole ghost angle, but that I'm not interested in that. She presses a whole bunch of different floors in the lift, a whole bunch of buttons. She might even press all of them, I'm not sure. But the behaviour is bizarre to see, because it's like she's been possessed, or she's talking to a ghost, or she's being manipulated somehow. I don't know if there is any other footage with her in it, but that's it. After that, she's found naked in a water tank. I think in order to get up to the roof, there was sort of there's one way up there as well that they reported. There's only one access from within the hotel to get up to the roof, and you can't get through it without some kind of clearance or key or something, without an alarm going off. But there was no alarm, so how did she get through there? How did she get into the tank if she was going to kill herself? There's sort of a gap of time from this footage to footage of her in the lift to when she was in that water tank. How the bloody hell did she get up there? What happened to her clothes? If she was murdered, I mean, I imagine she must have been. You don't really know, do you? How do you open I think the tank itself is pretty difficult to get into. You have to go watch the video. It's creepy as all get. And these two dudes go and stay in the hotel. I don't know if it's the same room she had or if they could get that information, but it's creepy as you like. It's a great one. They said as well that a bunch of other people had maybe died in this hotel. And it may also have been the inspiration behind that season of American Horror Story Hotel, which I think was the last one. No, the one before the last one. The last one was Roanoke, which was considerably better than Hotel. I thought the only good thing about Hotel was Lady Gaga, and I don't like Lady Gaga, as you know. I don't care for her particularly. Her music, I don't care for. But yeah, I thought she was very good in that. You can't put that against her, actually. However, so, earlier on when Nova turned the kitchen light on and there was like a bloop bloop sound, I just made me write down the word bloop, because that's another one that is, I go back to this one all the bloody time. This is something that is, you can Wikipedia this, bloop. I wonder if the BuzzFeed guys would ever do one about this. It's listed in, and apparently there's a long list of unexplained sounds, mysterious sounds, sound files. That's a weird thing in and of itself. That's on Wikipedia, I think. It's probably in a list of the creepy Wikipedia pages. And I love the list of creepy Wikipedia pages. They are outstanding. That's a great read right there. So the one I'm talking about is called The Bloop. It's been named The Bloop. You can listen to The Bloop on YouTube. It is a very low frequency sound that was recorded, and I think have them sort of centered or triangulated where this sound came from. It's in the middle of the bloody ocean. There was a very low frequency sound that occurred a while ago now. Don't ask me for a date because I can't give you one, but I think it was picked up on recording apparatus in several locations around the world, which, based on the fact that the distance of the recording apparatus was they're so far away from each other, that the sound had to be particularly loud, and that's why it's unexplained and weird, because it is a catastrophically loud sound that nobody knows what the hell the sound is from. And people have suggested it was due to the shifting of tectonic plates. Actually, you know what? Having said this, did they not figure out what it was? I can't possibly go on without researching this myself. You know what I've just realised? I talk about all this shit and I don't know dates or anything, but I could just look it up right here. Here we go. So it was an ultra-low frequency, extremely powerful underwater sound detected by the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. That's how they would say it. So in 2002, it's said to be consistent with large marine animals. Here we go. By 2012, they concluded that the noise was ice-related. So for a while... Shall I play it? Do you guys want to hear it? Oh my god, this might be like a next level for full of shit. Here we go. Oh no, it doesn't work. Can't get it to play. Oh, I can go on YouTube and play it. I wonder if it'll clear for copyright. Does the C have a copyright? I'm so tired. No, can't get it to work. This laptop's a piece of shit. Nothing ever works right. Okay, how am I going to find this? Here we go. Bloop. Sound. Yes, I got all excited about the bloop, thinking it was a great mystery, but yes, they have sort of figured it out, I think. I think they have suggested that it was ice-related. Oh, I can't... Why does nothing ever work? For some reason, this is something else I need help with. Whenever I've got a MacBook Pro, and every time I open... all I'm trying to do here is open YouTube within Safari. Oh, there's the answer. You've answered it for me. Don't use Safari. Use Chrome. I'm going to do that. You know what? Thank you so much for that. That was a really good idea. I'm going to download Chrome. So, turns out that the bloop is not interesting. But there's a long list of creepy Wikipedia pages. There's a great one that's listed, and it's just human. It is the Wikipedia page for a human. Because the way that it's written, I think in keeping with Wikipedia's tonality and sort of encyclopedic, I don't know, tone, or, you know, whatever, the way that it's written, it does sound like it's written from, like, the point of view of an alien, because it's, like, a human is, you know, blah-de-blah. Shall I read you an excerpt? Do you know you don't ever get to say excerpt, do you? Here we go. Human Wikipedia. Creepy. Well, don't put the word creepy in, because I'm just trying to find the Wikipedia page for you. Here we go. Human. Humans are the only extant members of the subtribe Hominina bonina brown, a branch of the tribe hominin. Oh, this is too much. This is supposed to be creepy. It's turning into an episode of The Cube. Belonging to the family of great apes, they are characterized by erect posture and bipedal locomotion, high manual dexterity, and heavy tool use compared to other animals, and a general trend towards larger and more complex brains in societies. So it sounds like an alien's written it. The whole thing is so creepy. Homo sapiens. I don't want to hear anything from you. Okay, well, listen, that was Creepy Mystery Hour. I wonder if there were any comments. Let's go through the comments on the last... Mind you, having said that, I want to go through the comments on the last podcast. Let's see. Novympia, let's see if this works. Sorry, I just like punched the phone. That probably didn't sound very nice, did it? Oh, jeez. Here we go. Okay. What do I search for? Novympia. Oh, there we are. Sorry. This probably isn't very nice for you. Novympia, what do I put? Podcast. Okay, I'm breathing quite heavily. So, full of shit. That's the one. But I want number 4. There we go. Okay. So, let's see. What do people want to hear about? Speaking of missing people, fucking Mitzi and that cactus both fucking disappeared. Well, didn't they just? Mind you, Mitzi has made a comeback because her situation was a bit different. I'm talking about Novympia's asshole race now. If you haven't started watching the asshole race, I implore you to. It's just dreadful. A lot of the comments are about Paris is burning. Hello, Holly Birch, Emirachu. Please list the names of the cases. M space 54. I think I did list the names. I don't know what that means. Ty Pennington says, did someone else immediately think of the scene in Sisters where the nail tech mispronounces Mora when Olympia did it? How do you say that name? I don't understand. Is it Mora or Mara? Mara? I don't know. Please talk about American Horror Story cults. I don't have huge hopes for American Horror Story cults, in the sense that I think that American Horror Story peaked with the second one, really. I think the first two are the best. Coven was pretty good. I don't know. I don't get excited about it as much anymore. I'm probably more excited about the American Crime Story. I think that will probably be better. I mean, listen, Sarah Paulson is just a gem, and she's playing a lesbian. Well, she is a lesbian, so she's, it's not really acting for her, is it? She's just sort of stepping out of the house. I think that the advertising campaign with all the bloody holes in it is great, and people that are saying that their phobia is being triggered are dickheads. And if you didn't want to feel triggered by it, then get off the internet. Don't watch TV, because everyone's phobias are explored on TV. It's not just you. And I truly believe that half the people that are saying they're so precious about trypophobia don't even really have it that badly. They're just jumping on some sort of bandwagon to feel precious. Not that phobias aren't a genuine thing and should not be, taken lightly in real life. The thing with the trypophobia is, I understand that it's a feeling of like intense uncomfort and dread, but look away. Just look away is all I can say to that. If there's a spider on TV, I have a very intense arachnophobia. I don't know if I've ever discussed that before. Maybe I should discuss it one time. I have a very intense arachnophobia. If I am close to spiders, I will immediately feel sweaty. My palms will be so clammy. I will just be overcome with dread. And it's horrible. It's really horrible. But, if you see one on TV, then, well, what's that? I know that it's not going to do anything if it's on TV. So if I just need to, I'll look away. That's that. I don't like daddy long legs. Daddy long legs in the UK is the phrase generally given to crane flies, which are those giant, the huge, spidery looking things that fly through the air. I think a daddy long legs might also refer to a, what are they called, harvestmen, or they're sort of big spindly spiders that are quite fast. I don't mind the big spindly spiders that sort of sit in the corner of your pantry and they're really slow. Those I don't mind so much because I know they're easy to get rid of. They won't sneak up on you. They generally just want to sit there and be left alone. And I appreciate that. I can get on board with that. It's the really fast house spiders. Huge, chunky, fast house spiders that I just makes my blood run cold. Nova, okay, this is a story. And there's I think every time you have a spider encounter, to me, it feels like the timer has been reset. Because of a law of odds, it's not going to happen again that soon. You've had the one experience and you're safe for a while. That's the way I choose to think of it. It gives me a bit of comfort knowing that you won't encounter them again, really, for a while. So we were in the living room yesterday. Not yesterday, it was a few days ago. And Nova slowly gets up, turns to me and says, okay, you need to leave the room. And when she says you need to leave the room, that instantly strikes fear in my heart. I am like that. The laptop is down. I am up. I am gone. And she said, as I was leaving, it's okay, don't run, because I have already managed to put it under a cup. Now, this I thought was great. This is one of Nova's great skills. Well, this is one example of a time when, she did a good job. Usually she moans and sort of says, well, just close the door. Oh, great, well done. Anyway, she had seen it approaching the sofa and very quietly put a cup on it without me knowing or without making a fuss, which was great for me. She said, let's get some card and we'll take it outside. Now, I don't want to kill spiders. I don't want to kill any creature, really. It's a tricky one. Obviously, the bigger the spider is, the scarier they are. But also, the more it seems like an animal or a creature, you don't want to kill them. It just seems sort of, a bastard move. Anyway, so I don't mind that Nova takes them outside under a cup and just lets it roam free. I have to see them. If she's taken it outside and placed it on the patio, you know, I'm not going to run away screaming. I have to know what it looked like. I have to have details about it so I can, you know, I can inform in my mind what the whole scenario, the whole situation. And she lifted the cup up. It ran towards the lawn. And I shit you not, and I know this comes off people's tongues very quickly, and I know it's a very flippant thing to say, but this was, without a doubt, the largest house spider I have ever seen in my 17 years. It was humongous. It was dark, and it was huge. I can't even tell you. I just feel very uneasy talking about it. If I could go and see some sort of, you know, hypnotist or something, if I could pay to have this phobia removed, and it also extends to, I don't like large moths. I don't like bugs in general, basically. I can't be dealing with bugs. It's very odd. I didn't mind bugs so much when I was younger. Daddy longlegs, I didn't mind them so much. Very peculiar. But now bugs, can't be doing with grasshoppers, spiders, you know. I don't really mind bumblebees. I don't really mind butterflies. I don't really mind dragonflies. I think it's something psychological. You know, these things are, you think of bumblebees, you think of honey, and, you know, if you see like a cartoon of like a sort of garden, you might see a little cute bumblebee. Butterflies, obviously the connotations with butterflies are overwhelmingly positive. Butterflies are seen as, you know, beautiful and ethereal and sort of soft and stuff. And I just think dragonflies are so beautiful as well that there's something about them that don't really irk me, which is so stupid because what the hell is the difference between a moth and a butterfly? They're so similar. But moths freak me the fuck out. Also, Felicity Von Dome made a great point, is that whenever moths like land on something or they lose that dust on them and they can't fly properly, you know, that dusty shit, she said they're such inefficient animals. And I thought that was such a great way of explaining moths. So bloody inefficient. You can't get over it. But, you know, it is sort of spider season at the moment, and I'm not very happy about it. Nova said that they are coming out now to find a mate, and that, you know, unfortunately, if they've been hiding in the corner of your living room, they're going to suddenly start to you know, they've grown up and now they're ready to go and, you know, find someone to make more children with. Stop it, stop doing it. It's so scary. I'm assuming a lot of people don't like spiders. I'm pretty sure that it's the most common phobia to have. And I've probably said it before, and I do subscribe to the idea that it probably is because of it's a, you know, a primal instinct to fight back against some sort of, you know, something which would be threatening or we perceive as dangerous and threatening. You know, it is really an inconvenience at this point because they're not menacing. You know, the majority of spiders, by large, are just going to sort of scurry away and you can get rid of them. We're not talking about, you know, what are the wolf spiders or the really dangerous ones. You know, you don't come into contact with them, really. So, by and large, it's just inconveniencing to be afraid of them. It really is not great. How much time have we got left together? Let me have a quick look here. Oh, not a lot of time. Before I go, I'm going to quickly leave you with a question. And I'd like to know, please, because Nova tells me the answer to this, and this is completely unrelated to everything at all. Nova tells me the answer to this question is, it's a guitar. But I don't think it is a guitar. You know, in country songs, in country music, it's been a good year for the roses. There's still plenty of blooms there. That was a country song. Again, Not all the words were right, but it's the same idea. But every country song, every sort of slow, mid-tempo country song, you know, there's that sound, it's like... No, that wasn't it at all. You know that sound? Sort of sounds like a guitar, but it's not. It's like, I can't even explain. I did a really good one yesterday of what it sounds like. No, I can't do it. I think you know what I mean, though. It's in the background of every country song. It'll still just go, oh, let me think about it. Oh, no, that doesn't make any sense. That sounds like a creepy creeper haunted house music. Anyway, you know that sound. I don't think it is a guitar. Is it some sort of long instrument with strings on it with like a little wiggle at the end? What is it? I'd like to know. I'll leave you with that one. Thank you for listening to this episode of Full of Shit with me, your host and driver, Olympia. So subscribe to our channel. Tell a bloody friend. Oh, thanks for coming.